You probably feel it too, that the power of change is currently bubbling so intensely. Yes, and at times it is really chaotic. Letting go, responsibility, new beginnings, stagnation, power, and powerlessness. All of this is currently so closely intertwined. And yes, the media information is reaching an unparalleled saturation. In the past podcast from What Do We Have Today? Sunday, from Wednesday, I have already told you a lot about August. So if you haven't watched it yet, feel free to check it out. And also in my Wednesday evening live session, we delved deeply into the topics. Today, I want to talk to you about an incredibly beautiful magnetic force that we can develop right now in August, and which is also incredibly important for us. So it's going to be super, super exciting because this information saturation, yes, it definitely affects us too. There are many interesting topics. Yes, they want to penetrate our attention. Yes, for things we think we need to deal with. Maybe also things, Isigi, where we are relieved that it is finally moving forward. Yes, but ask yourself, yes, you must filter very, very, very well. Yes, what is really important to you? Because in 2001, what you focus your attention on is very, very crucial. This month, not only does it determine your further path and your manifestation, but also your energetic level and how you will navigate through this energetically simmering time of change. Yes. In this podcast episode, we discuss how your attention, or rather, how your attention influences your reality, why it is currently so particularly important to focus on your goals, for example, to focus, and how you can avoid distractions to realize your dreams and goals, and ultimately also contribute to the direction in which events in the world are developing. Yes, so it is all closely connected. First of all, a warm welcome to this podcast episode. My name is Linda Giese. I have been a full-time spiritual mentor for over 20 years. I am the author of the book Consciousness Next Level and the founder of the Being Potential Method. Being potentials are your strengths, and these are truly magical powers, your superpowers. If you want to know more about your being potentials, then join our upcoming live show. I've included the link in the show notes for this podcast. It's best to tuck your biggest problem under your arm and bring it to the show, because with a bit of luck, we can work on exactly that. So let's get back to the topic at hand, why it is so important this month to focus on the magnetic power of our attention. Do you even know about the magnetic force or the cosmic law of attention? Are you actually aware of that? It is said that whatever we focus our thoughts and energy on, that indeed grows and flourishes. In simpler terms, it all boils down to what we choose to focus our attention on. And this has not only a cosmic but also a psychological basis, because our brain tends to amplify the information and experiences we focus our attention on. When we focus on specific goals or thoughts, we tend to notice, perceive, and be able to take advantage of more opportunities and chances related to those goals. Keeping this in mind repeatedly is extremely important for us. In my opinion, generally, but especially this month. Why is it so important? Well, on one hand, to avoid negative aspects, including negative experiences in the future, but also to attract positive development. For example, when we focus on our goals, we work more consciously towards them. Our focus helps us recognize opportunities that might otherwise simply pass us by. When we are so distracted, so much information makes us focus strongly on the external world or scatter ourselves. We find these jewels that are constantly being handed to us. In 2001, we can't find them, right? And it's just like that, purely from a universal perspective. Yes, the universe must already know what occupies you, what you wish for, where you want to develop. Yes. And that's why it's important that you also direct your attention to it. And we can also make it clear with an example. For example, if you want to become self-employed, yes, you have now decided to do it. and are still tinkering a bit. Yes, maybe you already know a very specific industry. And if you engage with it in a very detailed manner and thoroughly, you will suddenly notice that many, many more people have already walked this path before you. And you will get inspirations on how people before you have succeeded in taking this path, perhaps even successfully taking this path, because you learn from their successes. Yes, they are already a step ahead of you, but also from their mistakes, right? Or for example, that you see, okay, that person does it this way and that way. No, that's not for me. Yeah, it's cool. It can go that way too. No, I want to make sure that doesn't happen to me. So, but that only happens when you really engage intensively with yourself and your goals. And that's simply because you then recognize things, your attention is directed to this topic, and you just notice that the universe is now constantly providing you with information and motivation on your topic. By the way, it also works negatively, yes. Then we notice the following. When we focus on worries, fears, or problems, we also amplify them. So you see, this magnetic force of attention works in both directions. So what happens to us when we consume all these terrifying news stories, engage in depressing conversations, watch bad movies, and so on? All of this influences your experience of tomorrow. So my tip is to first set clear goals in life, very clear and concrete. And I know this from my own experience. There was a phase in my life when I had no goals. So not only did I not have clear and concrete ones, I had no goals at all. But it's like a direction you enter into the navigation system. And this helps us now in this time of 2001, particularly because then we can focus on something. Instead of being caught up in this storm, let's put it this way, it's simmering. Yes, the energies are simmering. It can feel like a storm, it can be very chaotic. And even if you're normally not that into goals, yes, that exists too, especially in our spiritual bubble. Attention, due to this enormous movement of information, it can quickly happen that without you being fully aware of it at first, you get caught up in the information. And that's where clear goals can help. And for all those who want to take their lives into their own hands, clear and concrete goals are naturally great to get through the storm and generally achieve your goals and dreams. And for example, when I had no goals, I was in a kind of stagnation. Yes, it was really like drifting a bit through life. And it was only when I started to really set goals. And this was quite interesting. I set a very clear goal, but rather half-heartedly because I couldn't feel it yet. And yet it had an enormous effect. It was incredibly exciting to see how all the energy immediately focused on this goal, and I could literally observe myself moving in the flow of this goal, with everything starting to concentrate and move towards it. And I found that incredibly exciting because at first I wasn't that invested in the goal, but now I finally wanted to have a goal again. And that's why this topic is so important to me, because it helps you get out of this whirlpool of disorientation. So set clear and concrete goals as specific as possible. You can always adjust them from time to time. That's not an issue at all. Okay, so what do you want your life to look like? And forget about everything out there for a moment and really focus only on yourself and your life. And ideally, write down your goals as well. Visualize your goals regularly to direct your attention to them regularly. It's important. It is important that you stay clear and focused in this storm of change. Learn to lead yourself powerfully. And maybe you even want to meditate regularly on your goals to continually clear your thoughts and focus your concentration. This detoxifies your thoughts from all the junk that quickly clings to us along the way. Yes, and it simply helps you stay focused. So another tip is to avoid distractions. It's really super, super important. Identify and minimize distractions. Organize your daily life in a way that effectively supports your focus. Make sure to keep your workspace tidy. Schedule daily periods where you can work on your goal without interruptions and, yes, engage with it. Your thoughts should really be focused on achieving your goals. With successful thoughts, with optimistic thoughts, with positive thoughts. 2001, yes. Minimize self-doubt and really repeat this positive thought power or positive thoughts about your goals regularly. Why affirmations? Yes. What always helps me personally is to spend a few minutes each day thinking about my successes or my progress and realigning my focus. For example, what do I have? What have I already achieved? And to really appreciate these successes. I do that quite extensively. Yes. I start for a few minutes and then I get into such a positive energy where I just realize, okay, come on, you've already achieved that. Oh, look, that was a challenge not too long ago, but you've already filed it under normality and it's been implemented. Yes, and then I celebrate these successes or will celebrate these successes extensively. I often do this in the evenings, for example, before going to sleep. I go into such a reflection and also really, really enjoy being in motion. So when I go for a walk, yes. I also regularly ask myself if my activities, everything I do, actually align with my goals at all. Yes, does what I am doing bring me closer to my goal? You could also say, yes. Here is a personal tip from me. Be generous and creative here as well. For example, my sports or my sauna visits several times a week, which at first glance seem to have nothing to do with my goals. But on second glance, that's not true. Because through sports and sauna visits, I remain more relaxed about the outside world. This definitely helps me achieve a feeling of having my life under my own control. Because I am currently doing sports, especially in the mornings, I can already chalk up my first successes in the morning and do something good for myself. And these successes, I mean, they don't always have to be successes related to goals. The successes in sports, for example, or in winter during ice bathing. I can clearly count those among the successes of the day. And the sauna, I regard it as a luxury that serves me for relaxation and meditation, but also for appreciating my body, my being, and my performance. Maybe you would like to keep a focus journal. Essentially, it's a type of diary where you record daily what you have concentrated on, where you have directed your attention, and what insights or even results it has brought you. This helps you recognize patterns to optimize your focus. Yes, in summary, it can certainly be said that especially in this currently very core, bubbling, energetic time, our own energies are extremely high, and thus the magnetic power of attention is a particularly powerful tool that shapes our reality. And if we now particularly focus our attention on what we want to experience, our goals, and if we avoid and minimize distractions, we can thus positively influence the further development of our lives. Yes, I also want to encourage you to be patient with yourself, because I know this probably all sounds very easy right now. And I am 1000% sure that most of you already knew a lot of this. But just knowing it or actually applying it consistently is a fundamental difference. And it simply takes time and continuity to indeed develop the power of attention and consciously harness the full potential of this magnetic force. Yes, I am very, very excited to hear your comment. Write down everything that comes to your mind on this topic. How does it resonate with you? Are you already doing well with that? Or are you just realizing, oh, wow, thanks for the reminder? Yes, it happens sometimes that you know a lot, but somehow the good stuff just slips through the cracks. What results have you already achieved with it? Or what do you find difficult at this point? Yes. And if you like, feel free to follow me on Instagram, where you'll regularly get focused, motivating tips that truly strengthen you and help you powerfully navigate through this time. Yes. And of course, I would be delighted with a like here. on this podcast. So, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you the very, very, very best. With love, your sister in spirit, your Linda.